Okay, guys, this is our evening proverb for the night. Proverbs 1:2 is what we've been looking at, to know wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of understanding. So, first of all, to know, this is a word in the Bible that was often associated with being acquainted intimately with someone. So, to know wisdom and instruction, and to perceive the words of understanding. So tonight we're on perceive the words of understanding. What does it mean to perceive the words of understanding? This is something we're supposed to know intimately and be able to do. So it says here that the word perceive means to consider diligently. Diligently consider, to observe, to discern, to understand, and not only that, but to give heed. Okay, so let's talk about if this is something we are supposed to consider diligently, give heed to. Let's talk for a minute about what that means. So I have something I want to read to you that I saw that was very pivotal, I thought, with this. Understanding is conveyed in many places within the Bible, particularly in the book of Proverbs, encompasses wisdom, insight, and the ability to discern or judge what is true, right, and lasting. So this is something we're supposed to be able to do. And it's important. We're going to say that more. It affects our life. It affects the decisions that we make. The phrase words of understanding refers to teachings, instructions, commands, or even principles that embody such wisdom and insight. These are not merely words to be heard or read superficially, but to be deeply contemplated, internalized, and applied to one's life. So I want us to imagine for a moment and think about our lives and think about what if we had done this maybe prior to getting in a relationship, or prior to marriage, or prior to major life decisions, maybe before investing in a business, or in a person, or in a job, or a career path. What if we had chosen to read the Bible before making major life decisions? What if we had been trained up in the words of our Heavenly Father, and we had perceived the words of understanding early in our life? How could that have benefited us? One thing that, many of us often say is, I wished I had known then what I know now. How many decisions in our life would we have made or done differently had we been able to perceive, if we had internalized the teachings of Jesus and we had carefully and diligently given heed to them? Imagine the pitfalls of destruction we could save ourselves throughout our life had we done that. The good news is it's never too late. His mercies are new every day. And where we can't go back in the past and redo, we can start with the decisions and the choices and the things we're doing now and commit our way unto the Lord now. So, what can words of understanding include? Well, first of all, godly instructions. So to perceive, to really know and consider diligently, to think about it. I want us to, when making decisions, I want us to pause. Maybe it's even just a brief moment at the grocery store and you're about to maybe say something that you shouldn't, or to the checkout lady that's upsetting you, or the woman at the drive-thru, or maybe someone, a coworker, maybe it's your husband, maybe it's your children. Did you pause and consider diligently the teachings of Jesus Christ? If we do, we may end up not getting ourselves in as many mistakes. Did you pause before you closed your eyes at night to diligently consider the words of God as you process all those things as women we sometimes process as we lay our heads on the pillow at night? Godly instructions, words of understanding that include godly instructions, are teachings, are doctrines that come from God, from His Son. And then they guide us. What are they there for? To guide us to live a life that is pleasing to Him. The other thing is moral principles, values, principles that help discern right from wrong and guide us in godly, ethical behavior. So before we watch that movie and allow it to come into our eye gate, or listen to that song, or get into that conversation, do we pause and diligently consider whether or not we should even be doing it, whether or not we should be even engaging in that conversation? Maybe we need to be set apart at times and be the one that steps out of the conversation when we know we've diligently considered and are aware of the fact that it is no longer a conversation that is edifying the morals, the values, and the principles of God. What about life lessons? What about words of understanding come in the form of life lessons? Do we look at the teachings and experiences within the Bible and consider the life lessons that were learned by Noah, by Moses, by Ruth, by Gideon, by these different people in the Bible? Do we learn from Paul and Silas, worshiping in the midnight hour when they were locked inside the prison? Did we learn from Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Did we learn from Daniel in the lion's den? Are we learning from the teachings, the valuable teachings? Did we learn from King David? Did we learn? Did we take that experience and are we able to glean from that for our life? These are divine insights. That's what words of understanding are. They're divine insights. They're from the Father. The wisdom of God shames, like the foolishness of God even shames the wisdom of the world, because it's so profound and so deep and so amazing. So these are moments of revelation for us that are available when we just pause and diligently consider, and we perceive the words of understanding. And these come from our relationship and the intimacy and the friendship that we share with Christ and His Father. And this can come through prayer. This can come through meditation, like we talked about in meditating on His Word day and night. It can come through godly counsel of the wise who are using their spiritual giftings to point you to the words of the Lord, through godly people. Now, I want to point out that understanding the words of the Lord come through our active engagement with them. Okay, through our active engagement with them, seeking them. Seek first the kingdom of heaven and all His righteousness, by engaging with those, not choosing distractions and other things, or engaging other things that are not giving us this wisdom. And, sometimes we just need to take a bath from the world, because imagine going through this world and all you pull in is worldly knowledge. Imagine how worldly you would be, and you may not even realize it because you've consumed worldly TikToks, worldly Instagram, worldly Facebook, worldly movies, worldly news, worldly media. Like, you consume the world 24/7. You consume the world's headlines. You consume the world's media. You consume the world's TikTok reels and Facebook reels and Instagram reels, and you consume the world, and you talk to worldly people, and you consume worldly, and you think you're going to be heavenly minded? It's not going to happen. You are what you eat. And so we have to engage actively and consume. It's not just enough to read about them. We have to then be not just a hearer of the word, but a doer of the word. We have to hear them and obey them and do them. Why do you call me Lord, Lord? It doesn't make sense. Why would you call me Lord, Lord, and do not do what I say? That doesn't even make any sense. Do you hear the words of the Master? Why are you doing this? Like, come on now, think about it. Why are you calling me? That doesn't make any sense. You're calling me Master. You're saying that you believe in me, but you don't obey me. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, are you getting it? Like, you can get that, right? So we have to diligently observe. And so that means we're paying careful attention to what is being said or taught. We're discerning, we're judging rightly what is true. Now we're getting into discernment, being able to determine what is good and true, being able to discern what is right and wrong, what is truth and what is a lie, because we've studied the original and the counterfeit, the original so well that we will not fall for a counterfeit. Remember, my sheep hear my voice and or know my voice, and a voice of a stranger they will not follow.
One more time.
Oh, one is louder. Tika, 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 tika. Tika, 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 tika. Tika, tika. Tika, tika, tika. Ayoko.
Look at them, look at them.
That's amazing.
Isn't that amazing?
They are coming. They are coming. You see how it goes. God, this is amazing. One more.
Was that cool or what? You will never have the same again.
Why do they know his voice? Because they have diligently perceived the words of understanding, and they have considered them, and they've internalized them, and they've practiced them. They've put them into practice. They know them. They know them. Know. It says know wisdom and instruction. They know it. They're very intimately acquainted with it. So they're comprehending the meanings, the implications of these teachings in their life, and then they're giving heed. Remember, it means to give heed. They're taking those instructions to heart, and they're allowing. This is when we allow them to actually guide our lives and our actions and our decisions. So this is why the book of Proverbs is here to guide us, to know wisdom, to know the instructions, to know the discipline of the Lord, to come like a child and learn from him. So tonight, let's perceive the words of understanding. Let's not just be hearers, let's be doers. All right, you guys have a peaceful sleep. Good night.